listen, this is what happened. I said, yo, Big, somebody gonna try to come kill us tonight.
What caused you to flip on him?
Well, you would say flip on him, but I would say let people know what's happening and the truth behind it.
Do you think Diddy was an FBI informant?
Puff was seeing a federal agent in D.C.
Wow, that's way before he becomes somebody.
He was doing some lot of things in D.C., and I think it was possibly because there was an incident where some people died. Puff don't listen. You know, I'm still having nightmares about those 9 kids that died at City College. I went to therapy. You'll never get over stuff like that, man.
So imagine knowing Diddy way before he was famous in the streets of New York, and all of a sudden you and your crew jump him literally to join a gang. You see him go from being a guy putting the parties, and then all of a sudden gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Then you start seeing him really become a star, then a superstar, and you're there from 1990 to 97. And then you're in the car, you're driving Biggie, and Biggie gets shot. You're there to see what takes place, and you're speaking to him when you're going to the hospital, and you have the conversation with him. That's Gene Deal. Some of the stories he told today was very interesting. If you've ever seen a movie, American Gangster, there's Frank Lucas, there's Nicky Barnes. Stories about Diddy's father, Melvin Combs, being tied to working with Nicky Barnes, and he was a hustler, and some of the very interesting story he breaks down. And then his conversation with 50 Cent, something that 50 Cent told him, as well as speaking to Biggie's mom and how Biggie's mom feels about Diddy. Anyways, a lot of stories, got heated at a point, he got upset at a point, and you'll see him getting very energized and emotional. But if you're somebody that follows the story of what's going on with Diddy, you're going to hear it from a very different perspective than the man who spent hundreds of hours with him behind closed doors, and that's Gene Deal.
30 seconds.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to hate. And how they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Okay, so just a few hours ago, a story came out here from Daily Mail talking about the fact that Diddy is named 77 times in Tupac Shakur's murder documents after gangster Dwayne Keefe D. Davis accused him of paying $1 million for the hit. So today, we have Diddy's former bodyguard here with us, Gene Deal, who's made a lot of, listen, he's been talking for many years. And Rob, I think the oldest video we found of Gene to start talking about this stuff was, I believe, 8 years ago, where you're literally looking at the camera talking to Diddy about different stories and things that happened. Here's some of the stories we've heard from you, allegations over the years. Casey Ventura, you allege that Diddy was grooming her, exploiting her dreams and talent for his benefit. Kim Porter claims that Diddy attempted to physically assault his late ex, Kim Porter. Usher, you criticized Usher for praising Diddy despite allegedly being groomed by him when he was a teenager. Tupac, you suggested that Diddy might be implicated in the murder of Tupac. Sexual misconduct and federal investigations. You discussed a federal investigation into Diddy's allegations involvement in sex trafficking and sexual misconduct. Continues. Alleged encounter with Ja Rule, meaning they had a sexual encounter together. Freak-off tapes. You got murder of Biggie Smalls. You got other sexual misconduct allegations that I can continue going into. I guess, Gene, first of all, appreciate you for being on a podcast and talking about this. And I know the team said you have certain things that you want to talk about that maybe you haven't spoken about before, which I'm looking forward to hearing about that. But my opening question for you would be, when's the first time you and him established a relationship where you started working with him as his bodyguard? And when is the last encounter you had where you worked for him? First time to the last time, what was that timeline?
Well, if you say the first time, it would have to be in round 90 when he got jumped into a group of ours called the Same Gang.
Literally jumped into?
Right.
Like when I think about jumped into, I mean he's jumped.
Well, he ran first.
Okay, and got it.
And then the guys called him, and if you look on the back of my book, that's the crew right there, on the back of the book. the younger guys caught him. We was on 44th and 8th Avenue, 144th Street and 8th Avenue. He ran down to 127th Street, and they caught him, and they brought him all the way back up, roughed him up pretty bad.
How bad was it?
It wasn't bad at all, but it was enough to embarrass him real good, because D. Ferg, who was one of the, like A$AP Ferg father, he's a rapper. He owned the clothing line. Him and Puff was real close. So he didn't want him hurt too bad, so we just more so embarrassed him, the older guys, like taking champagne bottles, splashing in his face, hitting him with cakes in the head and everything, smacking with cakes and everything. We let the younger guys rough him up, you know what I'm saying? So that was about in 90 when he got into the same game.
So he's born 69, 90, he's 21 years old when this happens.
Yeah.
Was he tough? His father was a tough, somebody that was in the military and was linked to Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas, and he was a heroin dealer. So maybe he had a little bit of the genes, but was he somebody that you would say he was a tough guy, he could stand up, he wasn't afraid?
Puff wasn't no pushover.
Okay.
I don't know why people would think that he was just a total pushover. He knew, like certain guys do, they know who to mess with and who not to mess with.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? And that's any guys in the street. It's very few guys that don't care who the guy is. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I grew up in St. Louis, we went toe-to-toe. We didn't care who you was or where you was from or what's your size or nothing like that. We were taught like that. So to get back to your question, it was about 90 when he got jumped in, and he was having a problem at a club called The Building and the Red Zone. The Building is where he did unsigned hype. That's where you seen Queen Latifah, leaders of the new schools. If you looked at that movie Juice, where they did the DJ that was playing, they had the DJ contest, that was The Building, and they filmed it there. So Puff was actually doing the unsigned hype in that place. And he was having problems, and he needed to get the money home. He needed to get the money home, from collecting the money that night at the place, then make sure he got home safe. So D. Ferg said, why don't you get Gene? Gene will do it for you, you know what I'm saying? So he asked me, so I was making sure that he was taking the money back to, at this time we were going to 111th Street and 5th Avenue, where Kirk Burroughs used to live at. And I would either follow him or drop him off right there at Kirk Burroughs' house.
Now, at this point, is Diddy making money or not yet?
No, he's not making money like that.
What's he doing? What kind of money is he pushing? What is he?
I couldn't tell you that, man, finances, but I could tell you that he was doing parties and he worked for Uptown Records.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know the revenue in which he was.
But he's not yet a millionaire. He's not yet
at all.
driving the cars and all that.
He had a Cabriolet. A Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Cabriolet.
That's literally what he drove?
Yeah, that's what he drove.
Okay.
It was convertible. What did he say?
So for you, Gene, at the time, who are you in 1990? Are you somebody with a reputation? And if yes, what's your reputation in 90?
Well, I helped start the same gang. That's the crew that we had. It was me, Mike Owens, they call him Mike Cock at the time, Rick Dogg, Tone Wop. They did a whole song about Tone Wop, because he used to dance at the Rucker. The guy named Tabadoo, D. Ferg, and myself, you know what I'm saying?
Who's the toughest dude out of all of you? Would they say you?
They would say me.
They would say you.
Yeah.
So you're the guy nobody crossed at the time.
Well, I wouldn't go for that, so I'm not gonna put that tag on my back, but you ain't playing with me.
Was Diddy feared? Was he liked, loved, feared, or respected?
Who Diddy?
Diddy.
He was none of those.
What do you mean he was none of those?
He was none of those at the time.
Oh, at the time.
So you're talking about at 90.
90, yes.
You know what I'm saying? He wasn't even scratching the surface at the time.
I got you. But you guys kind of see that he may be somebody one day.
Well, Alpo known him because he used to go to D.C., and Puff used to give a lot of parties in D.C. So Alpo said that himself, that Puff was going to be somebody.
What did Alpo see in him?
I guess the hustle.
Okay.
I guess
the
he's
drive, the
himself.
ambition.
Yeah.
What was he pushing? Was he selling anything at the time, or was he? Did he?
The parties.
That's it. He's not selling any dope. He's not selling coke. He's not selling nothing.
Nah, he's not doing that.
Okay,
He's just selling the parties and getting the artists and everything that together, stuff like that, giving them street flavor. Because before him, I don't think the hip-hop artists, the R&B artists, represented hip-hop. You understand? They were more like the R&B, maybe like the Temptations, the Temptations and things like that.
Atlantic Star.
To get back in there.
I got you.
So he brought that street flavor to them with his girlfriend, Misa Hilton, at the time.
Got it.
So this was in 90. So now he's rolling with us every time we get in parties and stuff like that. Don't leave us alone, because we would all go together and everything like that. And then in 91, that's when the City College tragedy happened. You understand? And after that, I stopped dealing with him because he didn't listen to me that night. You know what I'm saying?
What'd you tell him for him not to listen to you?
I told him, if we don't clear that door up, people gonna die here tonight. Several people heard me tell him that. I told him that. I said, if we don't clear this door, he said, Gene, just let the Nation of Islam do the door. This guy named Brother Anthony and them. He said, just let them do the door, Gene, and you just handle downstairs in the gym where the stars at, so nobody will mess with the stars. Because he had cut my budget. We were supposed to have 18 of my guys there, and I only had like 8. So we was inside the gym. But I was upstairs during the time of the incident.
What's he paying you at this time? Like when you have 8 instead of 18, what are you guys making when he hires you?
At that time, we talking about 90. He was giving us this was only supposed to be a 4-hour gig, $150 for them, $150, $200, no more than that.
$150, $200. So if he's hiring 8 people, you're talking about $1,200 is what he's doing.
About that.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. And for a 4-hour shift, so now that incident happens, you distance yourself. At this point, if you were to say, I've spent X amount of days or hours with him, how many total hours have you been with him behind the scenes, in the car, relationship, dinner, lunch, dinner, breakfast? How many hours have you spent around Diddy?
Well, if you're talking about, we were just party time. Party time, when he was doing the building, he was doing that on Mondays and the Red Zone on Wednesday.
Got it.
So it was only doing party times.
Okay.
Or then when he come hang with us on the block. We'd be on the block, after 7, 8 o'clock. We on the block till we decide whether we're going to go to the rink or whether we're going to go to the Apollo Theater, where we're going to go to the comedy club. We just hanging out. We people now. You know what I'm saying? We all friends and stuff.
Are you
like
liking him now? Are you starting to like him?
I didn't have a problem with him.
But you're not like, I'm going to protect this guy. I'm going to take a bullet for this guy. You're not there.
At anytime I'm going to be with somebody, anytime I'm around the same gang, anytime I'm around people that I care for and I love, I've always got that in my mind.
Got it.
You
so
understand?
That's the nature of you.
That's just my nature.
Your nature. But it's not like you're really liking this guy.
That don't come until later.
Okay. So what happens next?
Wolf calls me up. You understand? Gets my number. He said, yo, Gene, I got to holler at you. I said, what's up? He said, yo, I want to come talk to you. I said, come talk to you. He said, so we come talk to you. He said, yo, man, I want you to be back down with Bad Boy. I said, man, I'm not being back down with Bad Boy because Puff don't listen. If he, I'm still having nightmares about those 9 kids that died at City College. You know what I'm saying? It messes with me every time I think about it. I say, all right, man. He say, but you ain't got to listen to Puff. I'm going to get you your own contract, and you just go with us when we travel and stuff like that. I said, all right, cool. Puff was still hanging with the same gang anyway. I was still seeing him, but you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't, dealing with him in that level. So then now I come back and I'm dealing with him. I have a conversation with Puff. I say, yo, man, listen to me. You gonna listen to me? And if anything go down, you don't know me.
94.
Whenever Jake whenever that week after Jake got killed, that was Suge Knight's partner, and it happened in Atlanta. It was the week after that. I only remember it being the week after
Got
that.
it.
I couldn't tell you the dates. I couldn't tell you the
But
time.
it's
but I know
exactly
it was a
week after Jake.
It was a week after Jake got killed.
Got it.
From Suge Knight.
Got it.
Suge Knight, man.
Got it. So now you have the convo with him. You got to listen to me. What does he tell you?
He said, yo, Gene, we ain't gonna have no problems. I said, yo, you just call me. Don't nobody else call me. So he was calling me. Yo, Gene, I'm here. Yo, Gene, I'm there. If I'm off work, I ain't doing nothing, I'll go there.
Got it.
It was off the books. It was extra money. My kids are in, where they was going to St. Jean's or St. Anne's, one of the schools right there, you know what I'm saying? They going to Catholic school. So it was helping a whole lot. So it was no problem. And then one day, Kirk Burrows called me up. Yo, Gene, Puff gonna need you for this week. He's going to Atlanta, stuff like that. I hung up the phone on him. So then he calls me again. Yo, Gene, this Kirk Burrows, what happened to the phone? I said, what do you want? He said, I was telling you that Puff needs you. Hung up the phone on him again.
You want him to call you?
Yeah, I want him to call me. So then Puff called me. He said, yo, Gene, I don't know my schedule. Please just let Kirk, just take the call from Kirk, man, please. I said, yo, bruh, you gonna handle this. If anything go wrong, my name come out on some bullshit, some bull crap, you gonna handle this. I'm letting you know that. He said, yo, Gene, I'm telling you, all right, we gonna be good, all right. I said, cool. So I start taking a call from Kirk, and he'll check with my schedule, see if I'm off or I can get off or whatever like that to travel with Puff when he went out of town. And then I would have him on Saturdays and Sundays. And Saturdays and Sundays, he's spending with the kids. He's mostly spending with the kids and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you know the industry, they party on Monday, Tuesdays, and sometimes Wednesday. They don't party on Fridays and Saturdays like normal people.
Because it's business.
Yeah, I guess so, but that's how most of the industry parties was on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, stuff
Got
like
it.
that. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So now I'm going back with him. You know, I'm at the house. Now Puff is, he got the house on 35th Street, I think, between, I want to say 3rd and Lex, somewhere over there, you know, by the tunnel, but Midtown Tunnel.
This is, what year is this now? Are we in 95 yet?
We're 95.
We're 95. And at this point, he's getting money.
He's getting money.
Right.
money. You understand?
Is he a superstar yet? He's not yet.
He's not a superstar household name.
Who does he have now in 95?
He got Biggie, he got Craig Mack, he has
112.
I think 112 is coming a little later, or they're gearing up.
Right.
Them in total and the rest of them. He has
He's got a few guys at the time.
He got a few people right there.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so
Mace is coming along.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Something like that. But a lot of those people doing writing for him, stuff like that. So
so far, what have you seen at 95? Have you seen anything weird?
I think I wouldn't call it weird. I would call it, he had an incident with Kim Porter, and I had to rush over to the hospital. I got a call, said we was off that weekend. I'd be off that weekend. He's gonna chill with Kim. And so then I get a call. It's Saturday. I'm on a block chilling. I'm on 112th Street because we had a game room and a fish store across the street. So everybody would come to our block, have fun. My man would buy a case of champagne. We just, it was phenomenal. Like, we just had fun, you know? So I get a call, yo, Gene. I said, what's up? He said, you got to run over to the hospital. I said, for what? Run over to the hospital what? He said, Puff is over there with Kim. I said, I'm off. What are you talking about? He said, man, he needs some security at the hospital. I said, what's up? He said, no, just go over to the hospital, St. Luke's. So I go to St. Luke's Hospital. Puff's hand is wrapped up in a T-shirt, a white T-shirt, but you could see the blood just coming through there and everything like that. And him and Kim is having a conversation. Kim looked like she is somewhat battered, you know what I'm saying? And she couldn't believe that he's talking to her like, yo, you could ruin my career, this, that, and the third, and everything like that, because she had took a corkscrew and ripped his wrist with it because I wasn't there, but he probably was putting his hands on her. And she had to defend herself.
And you've never seen that before, though. This is the first time that you're here.
That's the first time I've seen a situation like that.
Got it. I got you. So, okay, so you're seeing that, hey, but you are hearing some of the conversation, you can ruin my career. You heard that part.
I heard the part that you could ruin my career. You know, you the corkscrew. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was funny, man.
And who's in the room?
It's just me, him, and Kim.
It's just the three of you.
It's just the three of us.
So he felt that comfortable with you to be able to say that to Kim without having you just sit outside. He was okay with you being in the room.
People don't understand that me and Puff, at this time, we had started getting real close.
Would you say friends at this point?
Well, I would say we're close.
Okay.
You know, he's same gang. You know, he know right now he don't have nothing to worry about with me around him.
But is there a friendship? Like, or do you have an affinity towards him? Are you sitting there looking at him as a younger brother or no?
I looked at him as a little nephew.
Like a nephew that you have to protect.
Like I got to protect.
Okay.
At this time, right now, I would have gave my life for Puff.
In 95?
In 95.
Okay. So you walk out. Are you kind of like telling yourself, a little weird what just happened right now? What's this all about? Or are you like, nah, it's not a big deal. You just probably had an argument. It's no big deal.
Well, I've never seen Kim that distraught. I've never seen no situation like that. So I'm like, yo, you know, sometimes people have incidents, but to come to the point, and me being in law enforcement, where, you have to take a corkscrew and defend yourself, it's got to be serious. You understand?
You're processing it that way.
I'm processing that, but I'm just saying she's there. She's right there. She don't have to be right there. You know what I'm saying? So I got to look at it both ways.
So when you leave, do you bring it up to him and say, hey, man, what happened? Or do you just like, don't bring it up, it is what it is?
No, we never had a conversation about
it
that.
At all?
No.
Okay, so what happens next with the relationship?
With our relationship?
With you and Puff, yeah.
We were cool, and we were going places, doing things as far as like going to different parties, different clubs, making sure, doing Atlanta. He doing Bad Boy Weekend in Atlanta, Detroit. We going to fights and everything like that. And nothing, we just cool. Everything is fine. Up until the night Big got murdered.
What did you see that day?
When me and Puff touched down in California, we were going everywhere. You understand? He got connected with Sally Richardson, and we were going to the movies. We were going to the House of Blues, everywhere. So I called Kirk Burroughs, oh, your brains, I thought you said we wasn't going nowhere. Puff is going everywhere, and it's just me and him and the driver. You know, some guys might meet up with us and everything like that, but it was just me and him. He said, Gene, I'll be out there. Y'all gonna be all right? I said, all right, cool. Prior to that, I had got a phone call from a guy called Waynesworth Hall. I think it's Waynesworth Hall. His street name was Unique from Mecca Audio. He was a drug kingpin. He said, yo, Gene. Nah, the girl Dawn called me. He said, yo, Unique is on the phone. And I said, yeah? I said, what's up, Unique? He said, vest up, and the phone hung up. Because what happens is, and I found this out, that if the feds find out it's a three-way call, they'll click off. They'll hang up the phone some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? So I called Dawn back. Dawn, I said, yo, Dawn, who was that? She said, I told you that was Unique. I said, Unique from Mecca Audio? Now, Dawn used to date Diddy, so I used to like, she knows a lot of people. So I say to Dawn, Dawn, that was Unique? She said, yeah, that was Unique from Mecca Audio. He told you, he said they coming out, they coming to get y'all. So I say, yo, wow. Coming to get us. So I called Kirk Burrows. I told Kirk Burrows we need more security. Because at the time, we only had myself, Kenny Story, and Paul. And Paul had hired a cop from Inglewood. We only got 4 security out there. You know what I'm saying? And here we got Puff, Big, and they entourage, the whole 9 yards. So he tells me that Puff is not getting any more security. I said, wow. So the part where you was talking about I didn't have to go, I never spoke to Puff about what Unique told me because I had spoke to Chaz Williams a day after that. And Chaz Williams said, yeah, I'm hearing like they coming at y'all. Now, I know there's beef with us because of what the people think about Jake and what has something to do with Suge people.
Right.
I know it's beef because of what Big did to the people from the Dog Pound when he made that phone call and they shot up their Winnebago in New York. I know there's beef from this Muslim cat that Puff had an argument with in Soul Train. I just found out recently what that was about. And I know it's beef with the Tupac stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
Hit 'em up, like you're saying the beef from Hit 'em up? Or?
Yeah, from Hit 'em Up, from the fact that Pac is dead.
Right.
You understand? And they said a Crip did it, and because we was rolling with Crips, they may have thought we had something to do with that. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So now, I'm like this. I'm like, I know this is beef, so when I hear it from Chaz Williams, then I hear it from Unique, and he's locked up in federal jail in Colorado with El Chapo and them, you know, that type of prison. He gets a phone call to me. You understand? So now I'm like this. Wow, I got to tell Puff. Maybe I could stop us from going to this party and everything. So I come over to the Andre Harrell's house, and I say, yo, Paul, I need to speak to Puff. Puff says to me, Paul said, he's upstairs. I say, yo, Puff. He came down to the steps. It was him, Kim, they had white robes on. And I was laughing because it had BH on it.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I say, he stole that. See, he took that damn robe out the Beverly Hills Hotel.
It's classic.
Yeah. So I'm like this. I'm laughing. I'm looking at him, but I'm kind of laughing at myself. I was like, yo, he took that damn rose out the Beverly Hills Hotel. So he said to me, I said, yo, Puff, I got some intel, bro. He said, what's up, Gene? I said, I got some intel that people gonna come and try to kill us. He said, Gene, I don't wanna hear that shit. I don't wanna hear that shit, Gene. I said, you don't wanna hear that shit? F what you mean you don't wanna hear that shit? He said, yo, Gene, you ain't gotta go if you don't wanna go.
In these uncertain times, if there's anything we need people to believe the future looks bright. So if you've heard about me saying this mission to you, we're on a mission to get 1 million people to wear this gear, and this is what we're doing. If you buy one of these hats, there's a category of buying one hat, getting the second one free. If you haven't yet worn this gear publicly, go ahead and test it out. Buy some of the gear, wear it in public, and see how many people will stop by and say, you also watch Valuetainment? You also follow PBD Podcast? I do too. Place your order. Go to vtmerch.com, click on the link above or below, place your order, and represent the VT and the PBD Podcast gear.
Got up from the table and walked out the door. When I walked out the door, guess who's out there? The Notorious Big in this green Chevy Suburban. D-Rock is playing with Tone, and they got a Nerf ball playing with a basketball goal doing like that. Mm-hmm. I say, yo, Big, somebody gonna try to come kill us tonight. And Lil C's, who I hadn't seen all week, you understand? Lil C says, Gene, go ahead on with that cop shit. You always think you know something. I said, I know one thing, you better get you a GED. You know what that is? a good enough degree so they don't cheat you out your money like they doing your man right here. And I was talking to about Big, because I had read his whole contract on the plane, because Puff had gave me the briefcase. When he gave me the briefcase, you know, like he just do some bullshit, hand me the briefcase, and went to first class, and I went to coach in the emergency exit, and I just opened it up and started reading the shit. So I'm saying, because at the end of the contract, Big was begging for his, well, he was asking for his publishing and his marketing back, and Puff was saying in the contract, we'll revisit that at a later date. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just reading this story. I got 6 hours on this plane. I'm going to go through whatever's in this briefcase. So that's what I did. So I said, so they don't cheat your man out your money right here. And Big said, yo, Gene, I'm going to have Rock and Tone hold you while Lil C's get his shit off. I said, all that shit sound good. It may make you feel good, but it won't be healthy. You understand? And then next thing you know, Puff was coming out the door. When Puff was coming out the door, he said, come on, let's go. I got in the car with Puff, and we all went to the Peterson Museum.
Okay, so when you said like they're taking money from your man, Biggie is standing there hearing you saying this?
Said it directly to him.
You said it to him?
I said it directly to him.
And he's about to finish up with the last album, and then he's getting $60-some million with him, with Lil' Kim, with all these other guys that is going to start his own thing.
Bruh, he was finished with his album.
He was done with his album.
He was done. Big was out there doing no work on his album. Puff had set him out there to do work on his album.
Got it.
Not on Big's album.
Right.
Because every time we was in the studio, we was doing work on Puff album.
Now, why is Puff allowing you to talk to Biggie like that? Because you're not helping Puff out. Puff is paying you. Why would you talk to one of his guys that's there? The boss is Puff. Puff is paying you. Why are you talking to Biggie that way?
I'm going to talk to them any kind of way they talk to me. My whole thing about it is you got to understand, I'm not that dude that you could talk to and have that kind of conversation with you. It wasn't about pay. They needed me more than I needed them. They needed me because they felt safe because I worked for Chaz Williams from Black Hands.
Who's paying you? Who's paying you at the time?
Who's paying me?
Yeah.
It depends on what day it is.
But when you're in L.A., who's paying you when you're in L.A.?
Well, I found out it was Arista Records, but it was for Puff.
Okay. I mean, Puff is paying you, so you're there, but your comment towards Biggie is creating a division between Puffy and Biggie, no? Like, I mean, Biggie's going to be like...
But, bruh, he already had a division with Puff. Their relationship ain't what like people thought it was.
So at this time, has he already told you, yo, Gene, I know you love Diddy, Puff. If you didn't love him,
we had that conversation the week before that.
Well, I'm telling you, you'd go with him. So everybody at this point, does everybody know he's gone? He's moving on. He's doing his own thing.
I think Puff knew it too.
Puff knew it. Had they had the conversation yet or not?
I don't know
yet?
if they had that conversation.
So is that public or did somebody leak it to Puff? Like Puff is learning from somebody else that told him about Biggie's going to be doing his own thing.
Bruh, if you got to understand this, Clyde Davis and them had spent a lot of money, you understand, to make Big into a superstar. If somebody write up a contract from another record label, Capitol, Atlantic, who you think they gonna tell first? They gonna tell the other head, yo, you know, your boy coming over here, you know, we got them, you know what I'm saying? He bringing us 6 groups. Lil' Kim had became a multi-platinum artist, you understand? Lil' Caesar's a gold artist. Cameron is showing promise.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying? So you think the two bosses, you know, the two bosses of those record labels ain't friends, they don't know each other, and they not going to tell each other what has been drawn up for them to go?
Okay, so fair. So let's say at this point so now you guys are leaving, okay?
Right.
What happens next?
We get to the Peterson Museum.
Okay.
When we get to the Peterson Museum, I jump out the car. I go and see the people at the door. And then I noticed this guy named Chris Lattimore. Him and Puff always do parties together. When him and Puff is always doing parties together, a light bulb go out. I'm like, yo, damn, that's why he wanted Big at this party. You understand? Because, you got to realize Big was supposed to be in London. But he had told Kirk Burroughs that Big wasn't going to London. You understand? Whatever you got to do, he ain't going to London. He going to this party. So I'm like, damn. And it was like every day he was throwing that in Big face the whole time we was there. And I just found out recently by watching a YouTube show, you understand, Math Hoffa, that what's his name? Superman. He's called. His name is Clark Kent. Mm-hmm. Clark Kent, the DJ, who was also a vice president of Motown Records at one time, said, I was in Big's room that night before he got murdered. And I asked him what he was going to do. He said, D-Rock and Puff set this party up for me to go to. You understand? I carried that stuff on my heart for years because I thought I had let him down because I thought that I could stop Big from going to that party. You understand? There's nothing I could do to stop him from going to the party. So now we at the place, I see Chris Lattimore. I say, yo, we got like 23 people with us. I watch all 23 guys go through the door. They stopped right there. They took us up the escalator. They put us into a section in the back to the left where cars was at. You understand? Puff said, bring me all the bottles you got left. So Puff, they brought all the bottles that they had left in the back. Puff took like that. Then they just started partying. Big didn't have no smoke. He told Little C's, C's, go find me some smoke. So Little C's went and found some girls who had some smoke. They came over and they started smoking. So I'm behind Big. I'm looking at, it's a lot of bloods and everything up in there. So I take my gun and I put it behind my back and I kept my arms behind my back with my gun out.
You're standing like that?
Huh?
So I would know if you're standing like that.
Yeah.
You're standing like that.
Yeah, I'm like that. Yeah, I'm like this with my hands behind my back.
You have a suit. You have a jacket. What do you got on?
No, I got a Mecca Audio black shirt with the number 4.
Okay, so I can tell that you're carrying. If the average guy's gonna know you're carrying. Okay, right. Got it. Right. And you're behind Big at this time. Big. Okay, I'm tracking.
Big. They say they're about to close the place.
What time is it at this time?
Probably about 11:45, okay. Close to 12 o'clock, something like that. And they about to close the place. So then I said to one of the dudes, Paul, I said, yo, Paul, you good? He said, yeah, I'm good. I said, here, hold this. And that was a Glock 26. I gave it to him. You understand? Because I had another weapon on. I had my personal weapon. My personal weapon on me, and I had a Glock 26. And I said, yo, hold this. I'll be right back. I went downstairs and got the cars and put them right in front of the door. Big car and our car. You know what I'm saying? So when Big comes out, because it's going to take him a long time to walk out, that we'll be right there. We didn't have to wait for the cars or anything. So Big comes out. Everybody comes out, we walk. It's taking time. I go back upstairs. We walking real slow because Big could barely walk. They was pushing him around Cali in a wheelchair. You understand? He didn't want that look when he went upstairs, so he came up on a cane. I think he had fractured or broken his fibula bones in his thighs or something like that. So he wait time he gets in the car and everything like that. So then I'm thinking we ready to go. And we were supposed to be going to Steve Stout's house. Steve Stout was a producer. I don't know, he's some kind of bigwig or manager, producer, something like that. So Steve Stout, we supposed to be going to his house, but then I got a phone call because I had called Chaz. Because Chaz was already there. I didn't know where Chaz was at. Chaz was out there with the Black Hand Mob, with the crew. And I had told Chaz, I said, yo, Chaz, it's looking real shady up in here. So Chaz was coming from Steve Stout's house down to our house. Down to the Peterson Museum. So he said, yo, don't go up to, y'all don't go to Steve Stouthouse. But what good is to tell Puff? So the 23 people that came in with us, it was only 12 of us leaving. Oh no, 11 of us leaving.
23, 11 leave.
Yeah.
12 stay.
11 stayed. 12 had already went to Steve Stout's house.
Got it. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because they were probably feeling a certain kind of way up in that Peterson Museum.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? What kind of disciples are those?
How many of them are alive today? Most of them?
Those 12?
That left.
Yeah.
They're alive. Most of them.
Most
Okay.
of them alive.
So 11, you guys leave.
Right.
What happens?
So now everybody gets in the car. So I'm like, yo, come on, let's go. Let's go. And Puff said, we got to wait for Paul. That's Paul and I think it's Reggie Blaylock. I'm not for sure. The officer from Inglewood. I didn't never get a chance to meet him. It's usually when you do a security detail, people gonna come meet you and everything like that, but I never met him. So we waiting for them to get their car out. 7 to 8 minutes later, this guy from the Nation of Islam that had a blue suit, white shirt, blue bow tie, come walking down the block. When he gets to I peeked right there. When he gets to the third or second car, I just come out. And I'm come out, at this time when we outside, I have my gun up under my shirt and I just lowered it. He looks me in the eye, I look him in the eye. He don't say nothing. He don't say a thing. He just turns around and walks back down the street. So I see him go about 3 cars, because all the cars was lined up in a space right there. And after the third or fourth car, I went back into the driveway to say, yo, man, where your cars at? Let's go. You understand? So we had to pull up out the driveway. So we pull up out the driveway. Now we lined up to the cars that are lined up on the street. We lined up on the cars when they're lined up on the street. You know what I'm saying? So now, I'm like, yo, Paul, what's up, man? He said, yo, he getting the car out now. So the Reggie dude pulls up with the car, right? So I said, y'all ready to go? He said, yeah, we ready to go. So then I say, Paul, follow us. You know what I'm saying? We right there. Big is right here. Me and Paul is at his car. Big Driver's right there. A Big Driver, G Money and everything. I'm looking at him and I'm looking at Paul. Yo, y'all follow us. All right? Follow us. You understand? Paul said, okay. Paul goes back to his car. I stands on side of the car. I got my left arm on the top of it, and my arm on the guardrail with my gun out, right? I got my gun out. I get on the side rail. Puff said, yo, Gene, get in this car. We don't need that. I said, how the fuck you, I'm sorry about that.
Totally fine, go.
Right. He said, how the F you gonna tell me how to do my job? How you gonna tell me how to do my job? He said, yo, Gene, get in here. I said, man, what are you talking about getting in here? How you gonna tell me how to do my job? He said, get in here or you ain't gonna work another day for Bad Boy. So it wasn't so much I was thinking about working for Bad Boy. It was the fact that I know it's beef out here. And if I don't get in this car, how I'm gonna get home? I'm gonna get back to the Beverly Hills Hotel. And then so then I gets in the car. As soon as I get to this car, he pulls his seat all the way back. So now my legs are sideways. I said, man, what the F you doing? I said, yo, Kenny, run the next 3 lights. Run the next 3 lights, Kenny. He said, why? I said, Kenny, let me drive then. If you ain't gonna run the next 3 lights, let me drive, Kenny. Kenny takes off. We takes her from that spot. We didn't stop at it was a flashing red light. We didn't stop like that. We went across the light. As we going across the light, Tone, who's behind me, says, yo, Big them ain't coming across the light. Yo, somebody pointing a gun at Big. I goes to open the door, right? We hear something say, pap, 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 pap. Kenny guns the car going forward. I said, Kenny, what the fuck are you doing, Kenny? Kenny, what are you doing? He said, they say somebody shoot, yeah, motherfucker, they shooting at Big. What the fuck is you doing, Kenny? He stops the car when we halfway down the block. Backs up, do the U-turn, come back around. We see the car speeding out. We stop right in the middle, right in the front of Big's car with the other Suburban. Big cars look like airplane because all the doors is open. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Except his. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. All the doors is open. Nobody's in the car, nothing like that. Puff runs around to his car. Runs around on Big's side. Yo, Big, you all right? You all right? Tone said, yo, Gene, come on. Come on, Gene. Me and Tone jumped in the other Suburban and we chases after the car. We chase after the car and it seemed like we going up this hill, like a slant over there. It's like a hill going up that way. We get to the top. When we get to the top, we don't see nothing. We don't see nobody. We don't see nothing. We don't see nobody. I said, yo, Tone, man, let's get back. Because those cats ain't got nothing. You know, Kenny, he does security. He got a gun. The officer got a gun. But was nobody there. So when we get back, you understand? D-Rock them is coming up. D-Rock, Lil C's, Paul, now they coming back. So we was going about probably 3 to 5 minutes. You know, chasing the guy right there. And then don't see him no more. So we come back. D-Rock is walking around with his hands on his head talking about, oh, they got my man. They got my man. Big is still alive. Wasn't thinking. Right through the driveway, it was ambulance, cops, and the fire department. Somebody called 911. They calling 911. Why didn't they respond? They right through the driveway. They right through the driveway. Nobody responds. And so then I'm down there. I went down there and not one time I was thinking, I'm thinking, yo, usually somebody who do some shit like that, they come back to the scene to see if anybody talking, if anybody doing like that. So I'm not thinking like, yo, stupid ass, go across and get the police, go across and get the ambulance people. I wasn't thinking like that. I'm thinking like, I'm not thinking about that. But I'm thinking when they call in 911, if they right around the corner, why they don't come through there? You understand what I'm saying? So Paul comes down to me and he said, yo, Gene, we about to go. And as we was about to go, it was this rapper, producer on the phone. We know him as DJ Quick. He says right out of his mouth, he says, yo, I think they got one of them bad boy niggas. They said they was gonna get him. So then Paul grabs me, like, yo, Gene, come on. Because I was gonna step to him. We about to go. So that's when we got in the car and Puff got in the car behind Big. G-Money is driving, Kenny is driving that car, and then Tone is driving our car, and we following them to the hospital. And we come to find out that the hospital was only 2 blocks away. Kenny took us to a hospital that was 30 minutes away.
Get out of here. 30 minutes away.
30 minutes away.
When were you in the car with Biggie or no? You're in the other car.
I'm in the car with Tone.
When does Biggie die?
listen, this is what happened. When Kenny got in the car,
Yeah.
and Puff said, yo, I told him, yo, stay right here and let the ambulance come to us, y'all. And Puff made the decision. No, we going to the hospital. Kenny, you know where the hospital at? So then Kenny said, yeah, I know where the hospital at. Somebody told me it was a hospital 2 blocks away from the Peterson Museum.
Okay, so you guys go to Cedars-Sinai.
Right, but it took us like 30 minutes to get there.
And by the time you get there, is he already dead in the car or not yet?
No, I couldn't even tell you.
Got it.
Because what I did was I said, whatever y'all do, don't let him go to sleep. Keep him up. Don't let him close his eyes. Keep him up. That's his last word. And then Kenny said, I'm going to take you to the hospital, Big. Big, I'm going to get you to the hospital. And the last words I heard Big said, just do it. I said that shit could have been a Nike commercial.
Did you see him? Did you look at him when he's shot? You spoke to him when he's shot up.
Yeah, I spoke to him.
And
I didn't speak to him. Kenny, I'm in front of him. When Puff got in the back seat of him, in the back seat, and I'm telling you, whatever y'all do, don't let him go to sleep. Don't let him go to sleep. I'm in front of him. I'm in front right here in Big, talking to Big. Y'all don't let him go to sleep. Yo, Big, stay up, Big. Don't let him go to sleep.
And then boom.
And then Kenny said, yo, Big, I'm gonna get you to the hospital. And Big just said, just do it. That's the last thing I heard him say.
So let me ask a series of questions, because we got a few minutes left here. And a lot of this we've talked about the story leading up to Biggie's, but we haven't talked about any of the Diddy allegations, nothing else, right? So I want to go through like a series of questions with you. Gene, behind closed doors, if you're a guy that you're close to Diddy, he paid you, you had a relationship with him, you've had a lot of fun with him, you've spent time with him, you know, what caused you to flip on this guy 8 years ago to come up with a video and talking about who he is, what he's done, and start kind of, you know, sharing some of his dirty laundry with the world? What caused you to flip on him?
Well, you would say flip on him, but I would say let people know what's happening and the truth behind him. Now, the thing about it is, as a gentleman, as a man, as somebody that's your employer, or y'all would say is your employer.
Sure.
You know, while you working for them, no, you don't talk about them while you working for them and everything like that. But when I decide to come out, I went through all the strings and all the things that you're supposed to be honorably as a man, as a uncle type dude to him. Mm-hmm. I tried to get in touch with him. Yo, my man, you owe Wolf mother $300,000. I was in that meeting. I was right there when Wolf said, yo, I just want my $300,000 from you. And you promised to give it to him when you did the Universal deal. You understand? When you did that shit to D. Ferg, and he died the day after my birthday. You understand? He died the day after my birthday when you could have gave him that money he asked you for to get that heat off him in the street. You understand what I'm saying? You could have did that. You understand? And you didn't do it. You know, I'm coming to him and I'm having people, yo, I need to talk to you, bro, because you're going to make this right with the people that you made wrong. Or I don't want to talk to Gene. Gene was trying to get at me when he told Miss Wallace that stuff about, you know, me and Big. You understand what I'm saying? So now you said I'm trying to get at him. I'm turning on him. No, what I do, get a gun and go and do street justice to him? You understand? You hurt the person in his pockets. You hurt the person where he hurt other people at. Now, if I've taken up if I gotta take up the mortar and be the person behind everything to start this off, or be the person to get the people the strength to do what they need to do to tell their stories, I'll take that. But to say that I flipped on him, I didn't flip on him.
What's the worst thing Biggie ever did to you?
Biggie?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What's the worst thing Puff ever did to you?
He told my job that I was out in L.A., you understand? And he tried to make it seem like to everybody in the street I was the reason Big got killed.
Who did he say that to?
He said that to people, because the people was coming back to me with it. You know, he was saying that to people like, yo, he made it seem like after Big got killed, he ostracized me from Bad Boy.
When's the first time you heard him saying that the reason Big's dead is because of you?
When I heard him?
First time.
I never heard him say that. I heard other people say that.
I know, but when's the first time you heard other people say that you're the reason why Biggie's dead?
When I came back from New York, when I got back to New York.
So you're talking 96, 97. You're talking about 90.
Yeah, 96, 97. But see, what you said was wrong. You said you started this whole thing back saying, yo, I started this 8 years ago. Nah, brother, I started this when I was in 97. 99.
Who did you say to the first time?
MTV.
In 99.
99.
And
then I did it at VH1 on 2001.
Got it.
You understand what I'm saying? I said it to the federal government when they came at the FBI, Phil Carson. When they came at me.
What year was that?
That was 2001, 2002. Something like that.
Okay, so
I've been talking about this thing way back then.
25 years you've been talking about this.
And then I still was working with him talking about it.
When is the last time you and him spoke?
When he tried to send some money to me at the Kingdom in 2005 or 2006.
Since then, you guys haven't had any interaction?
We had no interaction.
So when you started talking to VH1 or MTV 99 or 01 and, you know, the feds, all this stuff, you're still interacting with him. What's he telling you when he sees you?
Nothing. Nothing.
But what are you telling the market? Are you telling MTV like the stuff about Ja Rule? Are you telling MTV the stuff about Usher? What are you telling them?
Ja Rule stuff was, no, I'm telling them stuff about what happened, whatever they asking about. Like you doing an interview. When you do an interview, you ask me questions.
Mm-hmm.
I answer the questions. So I'm doing the same thing I do to them. Whatever questions they ask me is the questions I answer.
So were you ever asked the question such as, so, hey, Gene, you know, we're being told that, you know, some are claiming that Biggie's dead because of you. Did anybody ever ask you the question or no?
No, nobody asked me that question.
Okay, so that question wasn't asked. So what are you talking about in 99 or 01 to MTV and VH1 about Diddy?
I'm talking about Biggie's death. And how it happened, that's what they asked me about Biggie's death.
And the way you're giving that message, are you in a way eluding that the blame is on Puff?
I wouldn't say I was alluding that the blame was on Puff, but I'm alluding that he created the atmosphere for Big to die, and that's it.
But it's fair to say you increased the pressure and the temperature 8 years ago. Is that fair to say that you started kind of getting more and more and more and more in the recent years?
I think that because you guys and I got involved in the YouTube thing, that it became more popular. But I'm still telling the same story the way I've been telling it ever since then.
Okay. So Rob, can you find a clip from 8 years ago? There's a clip of you 8 years ago where you're talking about his dad, right? And this is how I found that. I had no idea who Diddy's father was.
Right.
I had no idea who, you know.
So you telling me you found out about Gene Deal?
I found out about his father through you.
Through me?
I did.
Wow.
If you type in.
You was listening to me back then?
Well, I mean, Gene, you've been around. You type in, Rob, if you can type in Gene Deal old video. Just type in old video. And it should come up. Right there, second video. Play that clip and put it on 1.25, Rob. Speed. Yeah, just put on 1.25. Go for it.
You want to reminisce, brother? You want to put Big, Wolf, and RZA on teleprompter and tell the world how much you love them? When in fact,
18.
You did nothing to save them?
16.
To help them? Let's reminisce. Let's reminisce that night. We was at Andre Harrell's house, and I told you that this cat was coming to kill us or try to get at us that night. I told you I had intel, but you didn't want to hear it. Let's reminisce the fact. I told our driver, Kenny, run this next 3 lights. Run the light, Kenny. Kenny ran the light, Big stopped at the light. Big get killed. Wasn't meant for him, bruh. Let's reminisce. Let's reminisce when you told Wolf's mother right after he died that you didn't owe him no $300,000 and he had
you can pause it here. So I see this, and then, you know, Diddy's father was a former vet, right? Military.
Okay.
And what's his name? Melvin Combs, right? If I'm not mistaken. Melvin Combs. And he used to sell heroin in Harlem.
Go ahead.
And apparently he used to be one of, it says Frank Lucas, but it was Nicky Barnes that he used to work. He was one of Nicky Barnes' associate, but even Frank Lucas said that he had a relationship with, Melvin. This is what I've heard. These are the stories.
That's not true, brother.
Okay, and I'm telling you what I've read and heard, and I want to kind of hear your thoughts. And then he dies in 72, right?
Right.
We've heard all the stories of, I've looked at to see who's, Zip, on all these other names that you hear about. And then, Puff was 3 years old when that happened, and he wasn't on stage. I think he's given a talk at one of the schools that he went to. He's given a talk, and he says, hey, I had to learn when I went to school here on my second days when I found out what my dad used to do. I was told a different story about my mother. So what do you know about who his father was?
I know for what his father was by New York Freddie Myers, who ran that area over there. His lieutenant, Omar, used to finance, like we giving block parties and things like that for the kids and everything. He had fish stores, he had barber shops, beautician shops, restaurants and everything. So when we was giving parties and everything, block parties, giving 100 bags back to the kids and stuff like that, Omar used to give us money to finance that. So now, I think Freddie Myers had just came home from jail. He tried to talk to Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons wouldn't have a conversation with him, and Russell Simmons used to work for him before he went to jail, because he was starting a record label himself, Freddie Myers. Freddie Myers said, he told me that he had a glass table with nothing but $100 bills all through the glass table stacked up, and it was a glass table, $100 bills stacked up in it, like blocks of $100 bills, and then the glass table had $100 bills in it too. He said, I want to talk to you. Heard you was a good dude and everything like that. He said, I tried to talk to Puff, and I want to tell him the truth about his father. So this is a stand-up guy who did all this time and came home. He said, Puff father was a part of my crew. And I think it was Hollywood Harold or somebody who brought him in there. You understand? He said that Puff father ratted and snitched the crew out. And this is how he did it. They had a cop that was working for Freddie Myers' crew. They caught Puff father in something. And they gave the cop $10,000. And the cop brought them back the recording and the written statement of what he said about the people or the members that he had in the crew. And Puff father, doing that, told the cop the only reason he was snitching because he he had to make a wedding that he couldn't miss. Freddie Myers told the guy who brought him in the fold of the crew, yo, you got to get rid of him.
Is Freddie Myers one of Nicky Barnes' associates?
I don't know how associated they were, but I know Freddie Myers ran that whole area around there, from the Foster Projects, from 110th Street all the way to 118th Street. You know, now, did he have some dealings with Nicky? They all in the same business. You understand?
Nicky Barnes leaves, he becomes an informant. Frank Lucas leaves, he becomes an informant.
Right.
So now, you know, you're saying the rumors that maybe his father was one as well.
This is what Freddie Myers
told you.
Yeah, New York Freddie.
Right.
Is telling me. And he even said it, I think he said it in one of those documentaries he did. So now, he said, he told the individual that he had to get rid of him. He said, young fella, the dude that killed Puff father was crying the hardest at the funeral carrying the casket.
I heard you say that. I heard you say that in another interview.
Now that came from Freddie Myers.
Right.
I didn't ask for that information.
Okay, so let me ask you this. At the parties, when you were, you know, the whole famous parties that we all read about, what's it called? What's the parties called, Rob? There's a name for it.
Puffy Flavor Camp?
Yeah, the Puffy Flavor Camp, all those stories.
That was That was after me, brother.
That was after you.
That was after me.
So you
gotta
never
realize-
saw anything with Usher, Bieber. This is not your era.
No,
that's after
not
you.
my era.
Okay.
A couple of parties I seen, and I knew that they were spiking drinks. My girl was at the New Year's party, right? I'm at the front door. I got to make sure everybody got their passes and everything like that. So then my girl and her girlfriend is in the party. So they get bottles of champagne. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking for them. After everybody comes, they close the door. So I'm going knocking in doors, looking at people. I'm looking for my kid's mother now. What the fuck, what's going on? And I'm getting hysterical. So I decided to go to the car, and I looked in the car. She was in the car asleep. She said, Gene, we started drinking the champagne, and I didn't feel good. And me and Debbie came here and went to sleep. I was like, oh, shit.
Meaning something was done to them, or no? They just went to, nothing was done to them?
Nothing was done to them.
Okay, so
they had drank something.
Spiced, what roofies, whatever they put in there.
Whatever they put in there, they was what you call. But she knew enough when she wasn't feeling good to go to the car.
So what else did you see? What else did you see with, or maybe not even see? Did you hear anything Puff tell you, like when it comes down to Tupac, or when it comes down to Biggie? Was there anything you saw about the fact that in your mind you feel Puff was tied to? Story comes out. I mean, literally, Daily Mail story. Rob, if you want to pull it up. Diddy is named 77 times in Tupac Shakur's murder documents after gangster Dwayne Keith Davis accused him of paying $1 million for the hit. This is 6 hours ago, 8 hours ago that just came out, right? So Keith Davis, 61, accused of orchestrating a drive-by shooting that killed Tupac in 1996. He pleaded not guilty, first-degree murder. This continues. Clark County prosecutors this month filed an opposition to the request, arguing that Davis should remain in jail because he previously implicated Combs, 54, in Tupac's murder, citing a 2009 interview. Las Vegas prosecutors alleged that Davis suggested that Combs paid Eric Von Martin $1 million for the killing and offered to set up a phone call with the driver, Terrence Brown, according to a July 18 court filing. Combs, who was mentioned 77 times in the 180-page court document, has never been a suspect in Tupac's killing, law enforcement tells Davis. How much of this, I talked to Greg Kading when I interviewed him 8 years ago, the detective from L.A. He did both of them accidentally, ended up having to do one, ended up finding out more about the other one as well. Where do you stand with what happened with Tupac? Do you think Biggie was a part of it? You think Puff was a part of it?
I never heard Puff say anything about doing anything to Tupac or Suge.
Right.
I've heard people around Puff say things about that, but I've never heard Puff himself personally say anything like that. I said before that Eric Von Zip came to the block and he showed me and my friend a check for $1 million. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And he said he got it from Black Ground Records. From Black Ground Records.
You saw the check? I
saw the check personally. He showed it to us. And I was like, when he left, we was like, yo, we didn't think about the Tupac shit, and that shit wasn't big back then. But we like, when he get a record label, he said he sold it for a record label. So I said, follow the money. I'm saying that now. See, what happens is, facts, let me get this right. Facts change feelings, but feelings don't change facts. The facts is if Puff did that, and that dude cashed a check for $1 million, because he had to put it in somebody's account. It was written out to him. Where did he get it from, and who gave it to him, and why? All I'm doing is saying and talking about things that I know and things that I've heard. And if you want to ostracize me, criticize me, and come at me because I'm saying what I know or saying what I heard, it is what it is.
I don't know. That's not the issue here. What I'm trying to find out is I'm an LA kid, okay? So I grew up, Tupac was my guy. But I also liked Biggie.
Right.
You know, I really like listening. I mean, I really, really like listening to Biggie's music. But I'm a Tupac guy. I have a painting in my house, 15-foot painting at commission. There's 8 people in that painting. One of them is Tupac. It's Tupac, MLK, JFK, Abraham Lincoln, the Shah of Iran, Senna, Milton Friedman, and myself in the painting. That's the painting right there. You'll see right there. Tupac's in the back, and I'm speaking to him. I'm whispering to him, and we're laughing. We're enjoying each other's company. I've always been curious to know what happened and who took him out. And I've always had a feeling that the motive, when you think about where the motive would be to get rid of somebody, Diddy's always been on that list of being a motive. But let me go
Don't you think it's higher than that, brother?
Of what?
Than Diddy?
Meaning somebody higher than Diddy took out Tupac?
Don't you think it would be higher than somebody like Diddy? You know what I'm saying? What would be the motivation, you understand, to give some street people $1 million when Tupac, before his death, was doing an audit on his company because he felt like they were robbing him? What would be the motive?
Tupac was doing an audit on his company?
On the company.
Which company?
On Death Row.
Okay, so you're saying Suge did it.
I'm not saying Suge did it. It could have been other people other than Suge that was robbing Suge and Tupac.
Interesting. So you're not at all saying that any of this is Diddy. You're not even putting it on Diddy being linked to Tupac.
What I'm saying to you is this. I don't know. You understand?
Well, you're in this world, so you have your own. What's your speculation personally?
My speculation is that if it means anything, is that Pac had to know that somebody was robbing him. Pac had certain feelings based on what his mother and his family members were saying, that there's people behind scenes that doing things that it need to stay hidden. And those people who are doing things may have a motive in getting rid of Pac.
And again, is there a name that you think was behind it? You, pure speculation. Are you saying the business partner of Suge Knight that came in, who had a reputation in the music industry? Are you saying somebody above that? Are you saying music exec? Because when Suge called me from jail and we had an hour call together, okay, and we did a podcast together, he said, where do you think Diddy learn how to do this kind of stuff? A man doesn't wake up one day saying, I want to get together with boys, with young boys. He said, Clive taught him that. He went to Clive, okay?
I think it came way before then because I know some people who knew him as he grew up.
Who?
They would stay in the same house. So I'm not going to mention their names, but I know somebody who grew up with him.
With Diddy? With
Diddy.
Puff?
Yeah.
And these types of activities with boys that happen at a younger age?
I'm not going to say it because I'm going to let that be his story because he's going to come out with him. He got the pictures. He got everything. I'm going to let that be his story.
Really?
Yeah. You understand? So, I'm not going to speak.
Is this a well-known guy or no? Would we know him or no? We would know him.
And he used to work for Clyde Davis, too.
And he's still famous today or was famous back then?
He was famous back then.
Not today. Okay. Because Mace came out and he prayed about it. You remember that one time when he was asked the question and he says, look, I'm not going to talk about it. He says, you want to say anything about it? And then he kind of brought up some of the stuff that Puff did. And he says, look, I don't have nothing bad to say about the brother, but if you go in there, here's what I would say. And he kind of alluded to a couple things. I don't know if you know which clip I'm talking about. Do you know which clip I'm talking about? No. So this is the clip. Go ahead, Rob.
Who was the first person you told, I'm done with this?
I think Puff was the first person I told.
And what was his reaction?
What did Puff say?
I mean, he was actually real supportive. I thought it would be the opposite, but he was like, if God told you to do that, you really need to do that.
Definitely.
Well, all right. Supportive. That's what it's supposed to be like. Well,
have you spoken to Puff lately? Do y'all talk or what?
Well, actually, we not really on speaking terms, but I still pray for the dude, and I pray that all is well with him.
Yeah, okay. Well, P. Diddy's supposed to be releasing a gospel album. What came to your mind when you?
I mean, can RuPaul put out a gospel album?
But don't you think that everybody can express themselves?
Definitely.
And if he,
they can. You ask me, I'm just answering how you.
So, Mace was even talking about it early on, right? with some of the tendencies that he has. So you're saying this gentleman's going to come out, and you've spoken to him that's going to come out with the pictures? You and him have had conversations?
Well, let's get it straight. He's got pictures from them growing up together, and they lived in the same household. And he knows some of the things that happened that curtails the behavior now.
I got you. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Got it, yeah.
So I wanted to come out to say that he got pictures of Diddy being molested when he's younger, and I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he knows why the behavior is it like it is, and it's, if you hear it, it's sympathy, but it's something that he should have got help for.
Okay. Did you ever see him, did you ever see anything unusual with him with men to say, yeah, what all these things being accused of him right now, I could have guessed this coming? Or no, you never saw anything?
Well, I've seen touchy-feely stuff, and I've seen situations where he always put another woman and like two women and the men, and they go in the room and stuff like that. I've seen situations like that, but that's that rock and roll lifestyle. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
And sometimes people do that, to cover up what they want to do with other men.
Makes sense. So early on, we talked about Nicky Barnes became an informant. Frank Lucas, we've all seen American Gangster, informant, right? You talked about his father, Melvin Combs, right? Is it Melvin or is it Marvin?
It's Melvin.
Melvin Combs, right? Similar. Do you think Diddy was an FBI informant? You think the feds had him?
I think that they knew about him a long time ago, and there's certain situations that came out, like this guy, paperwork, found some information where Puff was seeing a federal agent in D.C., and it popped up. He had an appointment with a federal agent in D.C.
What year?
And I think 91. Somewhere when he was
that early.
That early. I don't know why or what was the situation. It came out.
Wow. Diddy seen with a federal agent in 91? That's way before he becomes somebody.
Yeah, but you got to realize he was doing a lot of parties. He was doing a lot of things in D.C., and I think it was possibly because there was an incident when some people died.
Got it. Similar to the other one with the 9 kids?
So, yeah.
Got it.
Similar to that. But you got to realize this. At somebody, a certain person, and I'm not going to speak his name because I said I wasn't going to speak their name, they was offered a proffer agreement in 2011. But they wanted them to tell them the story of Puff with underage boys at their proffer agreement in 2011, brother.
Okay, so that's 13 years ago. We're talking, so the 91 is kind of weird to me, but I'd be curious to know what that one is about. So how closely do you follow Epstein? How closely do you follow his story? Jeffrey Epstein and what he did, and the fact that he made all his money by having accused of having blackmail of, men, powerful men, having sex with younger women on his island, on the Epstein Island, and then using those tapes to come back up. You've heard that before. Would you speculate and say that Diddy is the music mogul version of what Epstein did in the financial industry with politics?
I would say that might be a possibility.
Okay, but not based on things that you've seen and, you've heard from people that you personally know.
No.
Okay.
I couldn't say that.
Got it. Interesting. Why else do you think they would raid his Miami and LA home? When that happened, what did you see? When you saw they're like, why are they doing this?
Well, I think it's probably to more so either protect the people that he do have information on, or because of what he did, and he riled up some people in the business, and they trying to show them how powerful they really are. Because you got to realize, man, none of this happened like you just said. Just go back to what you said. You said that, oh, you've been doing this for 8 years. You've been, what you call it? Disrespecting or
no, not disrespecting.
You've been
coming out sharing stories against them.
Well, you wasn't quite that elegant at first.
I'm not apologizing about what I asked. My question was, I'll give you an idea. Do you know who Sammy the Bull is?
I know who Sammy the Bull is.
Okay, so I interviewed Sammy the Bull when he first got out of jail. Okay,
I've seen that interview.
And it got tens of millions of views, right? And, hey, why would you turn on Gotti? And he's like, well, the feds brought me and played tapes of what he said about me. Got it.
Right.
I understand. So here's a guy that you've been loyal to your entire life. They play the tapes of what he said about you to use you, and then you come out and give everything about him? Yeah. You would take a bullet for you. You're my brother. You do something like this.
But I've been there.
Yeah, so what I'm saying to you is that event, someone could say, makes sense why Sammy would flip. That's the word I used, the you with Diddy. I think I used the word flip. When did you flip on Diddy and start disclosing this information? So that's why I asked the question. But you were trying to make a point right now.
But see, I don't think you asked that in that way, and I probably I felt a certain kind of way because, I don't know, you're a military guy, right? If you tell me, Gene, don't let people go through that door, and I don't listen to you, and 9 people go through that door and they die, would that weigh on your mind and your heart?
Absolutely.
If you tell them, let's not go to a party tonight, you understand? Would that weigh on your mind? And somebody die, one of the world's greatest, arguably one of the world's best rapper of all time, but you're a Tupac lover.
No question. No. He's a top 5 on my list, so he's a top 5 guy. Yeah.
Would that weigh on your mind and your heart?
Of course it would, for sure. Especially if you're there and you see it.
I'm there.
Of course.
I see it.
Absolutely.
I'm touching the bodies.
Absolutely.
I'm touching the people. I'm pulling Big out the car. Would that weigh on your heart,
100%.
You understand?
100%.
If you try to go, if you try to go to somebody and say, yo, man, you're doing people wrong, you constantly doing this to people.
Yeah.
How would that weigh on you, brother? You understand? And they don't want to make it right with the people who are still here. When you telling somebody's mother who lost both of her sons that your son just had delusions of grandeur, like he didn't want to be nothing, he didn't work to be nothing. How would that make you feel, brother? I'm sitting back here knowing all this stuff, listening to all this stuff, and he's going around parading like he give a fuck about people. You know what I'm saying? If I got to fight this battle myself, I'm going to fight this battle, brother. Do you understand me?
100%.
I don't care what people say, because what they eat don't make me shit. You understand?
Totally get it.
My whole thing about this whole thing, and I've been ridiculed. I've lost people in the street. But it don't matter to me. You understand? Because I know in the long run, and 50 told me this. He said it out of his mouth. They can't stop what God got planned.
He told you directly.
Directly. He said, Gene, when he was going through this shit that he was going through, he said, Gene, they can't stop what God got planned. And that stuck with me. He's a street dude.
He's a street dude, total.
You understand?
He has a reputation. Gene, what would you like to see happen to him?
I always just wanted him to apologize. I always wanted him to come out and tell the people the truth and say, yo, Gene told me not to go nowhere that night. Gene said that one of us was going to die. You understand? I chose to do it anyway.
That's all you want to hear.
Take responsibility for what you did. But all this other shit is out now. You understand? All this other shit is out now.
Right.
When I first started this whole crusade about this thing, just tell the truth, brother. You lied to Ms. Wallace saying you didn't even know me. You should have lied to the FBI and the LAPD the same way you did her. So my whole thing about it is this. Pat, we have certain journeys that we have to travel. Some with people, some without.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got God in your heart and you believe in what you do, you'll be all right.
Gene, you were in one of the most single iconic days or events. You were there. I had a guy on a podcast once. His name was Jim Jenkins. And he was one of the 4 men who held John F. Kennedy's brain after he got assassinated.
It's crazy.
Crazy. So I brought a brain in, you know, the brains that they use when they're training people. I brought it in. I said, tell me what it was like when you held it. And he's telling the story. He says, for 50 years, I've been quiet. I've not said anything. And he starts explaining who he thinks was it. To him, it was Lyndon Johnson. He says Lyndon Johnson's crew came in as quickly as possible. He was sworn in. His wife's, John F. Kennedy, Jackie's wife, is standing right there. He's now president. It was so quick. They're like, wait a minute, why is this guy celebrating becoming a president? And he was at an event there to witness what it's like to hold the brain, saying there was an incision. Somebody else made a cut here. Why would somebody else make this cut here? He's seen that. That's going to stay with you for 50 years, right? And I had him on the, I think it was a 50-year anniversary when I had him on, when I interviewed the guy. And in the history of hip-hop, it's 2 events. And you were present at one of them. It's literally 2 events. One of them, Tyson fight, Tupac, Vegas. Second event is this. So I totally feel it. And for me, I don't have anything to want to get information from this, but I was a fan and I followed these stories as a young kid, seeing 2 of the greatest artists not be here with us. Think about it if they were around right now. Mm-hmm. What would we have with them if they were around? That's what my level of curiosity is when I speak to folks. But I want to read this to you. So here's Biggie's mom. I want to slap the daylights out of Sean Combs. I hope to God he sits down and spills his guts and apologizes to her, right? Valletta Wallace. This is a 6-month investigation Rolling Stone did on the violent abuse of Sean Combs. Biggie's mom tells Rolling Stone that she hopes the disgraced bad boy mogul apologizes to Cassie and his mother, and that she wants to slap the daylights out of him. How often have you and her spoken about Diddy?
We used to speak a lot back when I was talking with her. I held her hand and I told her the whole story about her son and everything that went down. And what you just brought me back to the part when I was holding Big, and the urine and the feces smell, and that type of shit you never get out your system, bro. And and you want to think that because he was, I try to believe that I would feel that way about any man that I went that to. Mm-hmm. But because Big was so great and he was so good, you know, like to me, like, yo, Gene, you say, D-Rock, you want this box of clothes? And D-Rock say, nah, that's from Mecca, or that's from, what's it, Lugs, or that's from them. I don't want that shit. Yo, Gene, you can have it. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Give it to people, parolees, give it to people from the block. But that's what type of dude he was. And I still remember dropping him and then having to pick him up. And it does that shit to me. And I don't care. I went to therapy. I've been through shit. You'll never get over stuff like that, man. And then the fact that people don't understand, they think that you're doing somebody wrong when people could have came out with the truth. And if you come out with the truth, you understand, a lie won't live. You understand? What happens is that when somebody tell a lie, the truth has to face it. And because he's been lying all these years, he's been faced with the truth. And you got to deal with
it. Have you had a discussion where to know how his mom feels? Does his mom feel that Diddy was involved?
I know how his mom feels, and I'm not at liberty to speak on the way she feels.
Has she ever expressed it or no? Has she ever expressed what?
She knows the truth.
Of what happened?
She knows the truth. If you watch any and everything they ever did, She's on one side, he's on the other side.
Big.
Huh?
Who? Biggs?
No, Big's mother.
Oh.
Puff.
Right.
They never
Agreed.
together.
Got it.
You understand?
So she was never supportive of him. She
was
never
never
liked
supportive.
him. Never trusted him.
Never.
Yeah. Well,
And then after I told her what went down and what happened, she had to be quiet. Because to me, first off, the people who was around her was Puff people. Mark Pitts, Wayne Barrows, they were Puff people.
did you ever have any interaction with Suge Knight or Jake or any of those guys, or no?
No, I seen Suge twice. You know, I was at the Super Bowl when the Patriots played the St. Louis, and he came through the door in Louisiana, and Snoop Dogg was on stage, and he started using profanity towards Suge Knight. I was there. That's the night Puff was with Mariah Carey. And one night, he came to Envy's, and that's a club in New York. It was downtown, close to Varick Street. And I'm sitting over in the corner. That's the night Zip, Big D, all of them was up in there. And Wolf and them was up in there. That's how I knew Wolf ain't killed Jake. You understand? Because I seen them at the same bar around each other. You understand? And Suge Knight came through the door, and I'm in the corner just looking, and then my girl was right there, and she stopped. She said, "Oh, Suge Knight," and gave him a hug. And then when she gave him a hug, she turned around and she looked me in the face, and I was like, "It's time to go home now, right? Time to go home now, right?"
My man. Well, brother, I appreciate you for coming out and sharing your story. Folks, we're going to put the links for both of his books below. Bodyguarding a Hip-Hop Star, both links, Rob. Let's make sure we put that below for the audience to be able to order and read more about the details of what happened. Gene, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Well, you know, for those people, I want y'all to understand in our community, and I'm going to say the black community, they feel like when somebody coming out and they telling their story or they telling what really happened, they snitching, they ratting, and the whole 9 yards. But I want people to understand that anytime there's lies or given a chance to live, the truth will never prevail. No matter how it comes. No matter what situation, who you worked for, what you did in life, let the truth stand on its own. And these books give a lot of truth. These two books is not only about the relationship with Puff, it's about the relationship with hip-hop and some of the things that happen. And I'm telling the truth in every statement, in every word in my books.
My man, we got the link below. Folks, go place the order and support this man here. Gene, appreciate you for coming out, man.
All right.
Truly. Thank you,
man.
My man. Yes. Right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
In these uncertain times, if there's anything we need people to believe the future looks bright. So if you've heard about me saying this mission to you, we're on a mission to get 1 million people to wear this gear, and this is what we're doing. If you buy one of these hats, there's a category of buying one hat, getting the second one free. If you haven't yet worn this gear publicly, go ahead and test it out. Buy some of the gear, wear it in public, and see how many people will stop by and say, you also watch Valuetainment? You also follow PBD Podcast? I do too. Place your order. Go to vtmerch.com, click on the link above or below, place your order, and represent the VT and the PBD Podcast gear.